As an author, I despise generative AI at like an irrational level, and recently I met someone who was surprised by that, and I was surprised by the surprise, and so I thought I would share why we as authors hate it so much. Because it's not just one thing, it's a whole buffet of terrible that makes us table-flippingly irate. Thing number one, many of us were introduced to generative AI by finding out it had already taken our work without compensation or consent and ingested that. The companies knew it was probably illegal, did not care, did it anyway, because they assumed the profits would outweigh the legal fees. Which isn't the best introduction to anything. Imagine you meet a person for the first time and they are raiding your closet and wearing your clothes. Next is something I think a lot of people hate about that, is the slop. It's already hard enough as an author to get your work discovered. Like 10,000 books a day get published, and the AI slop is overwhelming the systems with mostly utter trash, meaning it's very hard for legitimate books to get discovered in the deluge. The third thing is our pride as authors. We put a lot of time and effort into crafting our words. We believe the important thing about writing is that these are our words, and generative AI is fundamentally not that. Those aren't the author's words, even if they're their ideas. They're not their words, so we don't feel like it's writing. It offends our sensibilities. It goes against our very identity as writers. People using generative AI aren't, in our view, writing. They're basically using a underpaid ghostwriter that plays a little fast and loose with plagiarism. Another one that we don't often talk about, partly because we don't want to admit it's real, is fear. We are afraid that we will be replaced, that these models are going to get good enough to oust human creative endeavors. Now, most of us don't believe that these models are actually going to get that good, that they could actually replace human artist creativities, but we're not sure that they're not going to get that good. And that creates uncertainty, and that uncertainty leads to fear, and fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate, and thus we hate these models. Which is why, if you have a conversation with a writer about generative AI, anticipate that it might not be a gentle and well-reasoned conversation. It may just be them screaming profanities, and if they're a good writer, inventing new profanities that they can then scream.